Have you ever had to build a business from scratch and found out that it was the hardest thing you took? For most first time entrepreneurs, they find out as soon as they have started that business is the hardest sport they ever took on. Now, in this video, I'll share with you tips that will give you clarity on how to build your business. But before I go there, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification. It helps YouTube to notify you every time a new video drops on this channel. Now, the first tip I want to share with you here is business evolution. What is business evolution? It's about evolving that idea that you have until you can come up with a stable idea that becomes the business that you're building. Now, there are a lot of stories that support this. In fact, in business evolution, you're anticipating problems ahead of time and you're creating the solutions even before those problems erupt. The KFC that you know today, when Colonel Sanders started it, he started by mixing a lot of herbs and spices that you would say were commonplace. And then just to reduce the cook time, he had to use a pressure cooker, which was a new invention at that time, to reduce the cook time because the customers he had then were complaining that they were waiting so long for their food. John Pemberton, the producer of Coca-Cola, started producing Coca-Cola from alcohol. The Coca-Cola you know today was not what he originally produced. However, he found out after a couple of years that he needed to change that alcohol to sugar so as to make the drink appealing. So in business evolution, you're anticipating problems and trying to solve them today, even before they erupt. Now, there are three kinds of values that a customer would traditionally want to get from your product and your service. Now, the first value is essential value. What's essential value? It's those values that the customer cannot do without. They would have to go with it every day. Those values necessitate that they purchase your product every day. It's like a restaurant. Restaurants don't run out of business if they structure their system well, because the customer needs to eat every day. People need to eat every day. But it doesn't mean that there are no restaurants that have run out of business. So this is one value. Now the second value is emotional value. What's emotional value? Is those values that the customer gets that are not really essential, but because of their emotional attachment to the product, it has become an essential for them. Like you have the hair salons for ladies. Those kind of businesses are giving the customers emotional value because of the emotional attachment the customer has to their product or their service. Just recently, a young man who was a regular guest on a radio station had met me and wanted to be coached. Now, he wanted to build a relationship consulting practice, and I knew what to do to help him. But I wanted him to watch as many videos and learn a few tips of how to build a business. But he backed out. I knew I could get him to build a practice that was giving a blend of emotional and essential value to the customer, those who would patronize his business. But he was not willing to go the extra mile of watching videos and learning. So you might want to share this video with your friends and get them to watch and learn. Now, the third value that a business would usually give to their customers is discretionary values. Now, these kind of values are the values that people may do without. It does not essentially affect their lifestyle, so they could possibly do without them and not feel a regret. Now, before I go on to describe other tips that I have, now businesses that have structured their marketing pitch to deliver both essential and emotional value to the customers are those businesses that have a long standing within the market, because the customer sees both sides. He has a touch of an essential value and a touch of emotional value. Now, this is something you want to do to your marketing pitch. Adjust it, structure it in a way that it will deliver both an essential value and emotional value. Get the customer to feel that they need your product desperately. Now, how has the common brands of today done this? In 2020, Coca-Cola had a slogan they called "Together Tastes Better." Now, what were they trying to do? They were trying to get their customers to understand that building a family and enjoying the drink of Coca-Cola with that family would taste better. Now, not only were they offering the customers the essential value of quenching their thirst, they were also offering that emotional value of family and togetherness. You want to do that to your marketing pitch and watch how your business grows. Now, the next tip I want to talk about is business model. Now, there are four kinds of business models when it comes to business. Now, the first model is the near-death businesses. Now, these kind of businesses are those businesses that just started. They have a low margin of profit and a low volume because they just started. They have not built a customer base, so there is not much volume that could compensate for the low margin of profit. And also, the margin of profit within their businesses is low because of the fact that they are not really essential or emotional value providing businesses. Take a trip to other areas of life. You would also discover that this principle works. Now look at the species called humans. Did you know that the highest mortality period is usually at infancy? Now, why is it even the highest mortality period? It's because it is that period of time when the newborn baby does not give any value to the family. There is no essential value that he could provide to those around. So this means that if you're building a business, keep in mind that you must have to grow very quickly out of the near-death zone. It is where most businesses have failed, and you have a span of 5 years to make sure that your business grows beyond the near-death businesses and begins to enjoy higher margin of profit and even higher volumes. Now, the next model is what I call the mass market business. Now, these businesses have a low margin of profit, but they have a high volume. And because of their high volume, they tend to compensate for their low margin of profit. Businesses like the supermarket and the hair salon for men, and even the spas. Now, all these businesses, depending on their location, could enjoy high volume. So there are more and more people trooping in to engage them to obtain their product or service. And this is the only way they can compensate for their low margin of profit. So supermarkets don't really enjoy high margin of profit if you look at it, because they would have to buy that product and ship it down to their center or to their supermarket before it could be sold to the end user. Now, all of that must be factored into the cost that the supermarket bears. So the cost of transportation, the cost of the goods, summed up, it becomes impossible that they could make high margins because they are only selling. Now keep in mind that if they tend to increase their prices so as to get high margin, the customer has other options. He could go somewhere else to buy the same product or get the same service. Now, these mass market businesses do not produce commodities. They only sell what has been produced. And because of that, it also affects the margin of profit. Now, imagine that you have a business and you're producing a commodity that has very few alternatives. It is very likely that you make a high margin selling your product which you have produced than selling something someone else has produced. And there are varieties of alternatives. Find a business where you could possibly enjoy high margin of profit and also high volume. But if you must sacrifice one, sacrifice high volume, not high margin. Now, another business that could fall into the mass market businesses that you may disagree are the water bottling companies. Now, one may say they are producing something, But if you look at it critically, they are not producing anything. If you look at all the cost expenses put into making a unit bottled water, you would understand that these people do not enjoy high margin. Talk about how they will purchase the preformers and transport it back to their company before the water is bottled and then sold. You would understand that they don't enjoy high margin. But compare this with the story of Coca-Cola. Back when Mr. Candler bought the Coca-Cola brand and was trying to turn it into a global company, three lawyers, Mr. Benjamin Thomas, Mr. Joseph Whitehead, and another friend of theirs, had met Mr. Candler and asked to buy the exclusive right to bottle the drinks, as at that time Coca-Cola was sold as cup servings. They were not sold in bottles. Now these three lawyers started to bottle the Coca-Cola drink and to sell, but they morphed their business and started selling the right to bottle the drinks to other local entrepreneurs. Now while Mr. Candler was expanding his marketing to keep the global brand known, what he didn't know is that he was expanding the businesses of the bottlers. So more and more people were buying the bottled drink because of all his efforts put into marketing. So if you compare these two stories, you discover that bottling another drink would give you much more money than bottling just water. Now the third business model is the elite businesses. Now these businesses enjoy high margin but low volume. Now businesses that have created a perception of luxury around their product or service enjoy this kind of margins. They enjoy high margins because of the fact that there is a perception of luxury around your brands, like the wristwatches, the Philippe Patek, and the Rolex wristwatches. These are brands that enjoy high margin, even though their volume is low. So keep that in mind also. How do you want to structure your business? Do you want to structure your business in a way that gives you high margin, even though it is at the expense of volume? That may be something you want to think about. Or do you want to structure your business in a way that gives you high volume at the expense of the margin? Now the fourth business model are those which I call the prestige businesses. These enjoy high margin and high volume. Because of the way they are structured also, they tend to enjoy high margin and high volume. Look at the luxury cars and how they enjoy high margin and high volume. And it's because of the fact that they are selling to a particular niche in the market. They are selling to the wealthy, to the very rich folks who can afford to buy them again and again. Now the next tip I want to talk about is business strategies. The kind of strategy you adopt in your business tells a lot about your business. It will determine if you will enjoy good profits in business, and it will also determine if you will enjoy a good volume of sales. Now, this is something you must keep in mind. Just recently, we had a business bootcamp where I was trying to teach the folks how you can structure your business to enjoy good profit and good volume. And a lady who had a cleaning business was there. And I was trying to tell her that if you choose this other strategy, instead of the strategy you're operating with now, you could enjoy good margin in your business. I'll mention a few of those strategies in this video, and I'll let you choose the one that you want. Now, the first strategy is the infrastructure strategy. This strategy is where businesses create the infrastructure so that other local and smaller entrepreneurs can use their infrastructure to do business, and in return, they get paid. A good example of businesses that have adopted the infrastructure strategy is like Alibaba, Shopify, all these e-commerce platforms where you could sell what you have. They don't own the commodity on the platform. They don't own the products that are being sold on the platform, but they have provided a platform where the buyer can connect with the seller. That's setting up an infrastructure that could possibly help young business people to advance their business, and in turn, they make a certain percentage of the sales. Other businesses that have adopted this infrastructure strategy is the Coursera business. Now, Coursera as a company do not own the courses sold on their platform. They are only providing that platform so that institutions can sell their courses on their platform, and while it is being sold, they make a certain percentage. That is something you may want to think about. Think about those kind of businesses or those kind of services that people would normally go for, and create a platform where you could connect the buyer to the seller. Look at all the ride sharing apps, and you will understand that they are also adopting the infrastructural strategy. They don't own the cars, they are only providing the platform where the driver meets the man who is asking for his service. Now, one of the drawbacks of this strategy is that people may take their transaction off your platform and now begin to communicate via their mobile phones or any other system of communication they may want to adopt. But you have indeed created a connection between the buyer and the seller. Now, for the e-commerce platform, it's obvious they only enjoy because of the fact that people buy on their platform. And the moment a product is sold on their platform, they get their own share of the sales. Now, the second strategy is the arbitrage. A lot of companies have adopted this strategy also, especially the companies in the cryptocurrency sector. They have adopted this strategy as their business strategy for building their businesses. Now, I cited an instance in my book, The Two Kinds of Money Problems, where a crypto company, Alameda Research, was adopting this strategy. They would buy Bitcoin from the Japanese market and sell to the American market and take the profit. That is how they have built their business. So if you want to get that book, you could check the description for the link to the book. And also, that link offers you an exclusive opportunity to be part of the bootcamp. So businesses that buy at a certain market and sell at another market are adopting this arbitrage strategy. Now, the third strategy is marketing as a star. Now, there are businesses who enjoy good margin of profit and large volume of sales who do not necessarily produce their own products. They don't make their own products. Companies like Adidas, Nike, Apple don't make their own products. They only market the product which has been made for them. So they don't have a production line. They only spend their money on marketing. And now that gives you another perspective of how to build your business. Because when you spend a huge sum of money on marketing your product, but not necessarily on producing it, you stand a chance of getting a large return in terms of the volume of sales that you make, because now you're pushing all your strength in the direction of marketing. Let me tell you a story. Back in 1920, when Adolf Adi Dassler started his shoemaking, he was using his mother's kitchen as his workshop. But shortly afterwards, his brother Rudolf joined him, and they were making shoes. They made shoes for athletes. They made running shoes. They made football boots. They made all these things. So they had a production line, and they were making their products themselves. Not until Adolf and his son Horst died that the company decided to change their strategy and only market their products and not make their products. So they had to outsource the production of their shoes to another company so that they could spend every dime on marketing. Keep that in mind, because that helps you also if you're trying to build a business and have the best return ever. you might want to outsource your production to another company and only market what has been produced. If you compare what Nike makes today in terms of their shoe sales, you will understand that outsourcing helps you to recoup your money faster because you're now spending every dime you have on marketing and not on production. Actually, after the Olympics of 1936, Adidas was making and selling about 200,000 shoes for the first 2 years after that Olympics. Now compare that to the millions and tens of millions that is being sold as of today by Adidas. And that shows you that because they have channeled all their financial energy to marketing their product, they are going to recoup their money faster, and that gives them a single focus as a large business. You could apply this strategy whether you have a cleaning business or a fast food restaurant. You could apply this strategy and outsource a segment of your production or a segment of your service. Now, if you have a cleaning business, you don't literally have to own staff who do the cleaning. Actually, you could be a third party connecting the man who wants his house cleaned with a cleaning agent or another cleaning company, but you're just the third party connecting them. So when they reach out to you, you formalize your business in such a way that you get paid, and then the cleaners who actually do the cleaning get a cut of their pay also. It is part of outsourcing your business and only marketing as a start. If you have a restaurant business, you might want to also adopt this strategy, especially if people place orders for your food from home. These are the few strategies that I want you to keep in mind and see how much you can adopt any of them in your business. Now, here's my final take. Number one, seek help. Be free to seek consulting help from business consultants and coaches who can help you adjust your business model and adjust your strategy so that you can be able to make and enjoy a good margin of profit. There's a whole lot of support and help you can get from consultants to navigate your challenges. Number two, reassess and adjust your business model and strategy. With the help of a business consultant, you can take a hard look at your business model and strategies and know areas that need improvement and apply yourself to improve those areas so that you can enjoy good margin. Be willing to adjust your strategy to better meet the needs of your customers and stay thriving. By adjusting your strategies, you can enjoy good margin without compromising your service. Now, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification. Like, come your way next time.